Good evening, YouTube. It's Uncle Barrett again here, just to kind of give you a little story time. In my last video, part one of my testimony of encountering, basically my first witch. Um, I kind of want to talk about a little bit my experience while I was in Memphis, Tennessee. Um, like the reasons why I went there and whatnot. Um, I went to Memphis to go to the Dr. Benjamin L. Hooks Job Corps Center in Memphis, Tennessee in 2009. And the reason why I decided to go there at that time was, I was at TSU and Nashville, and I kept failing in my classes and didn't really know what I wanted to be, or you know, I was just in a really bad headspace because I was losing friends, and you know, I think my father came to me one time. He's like, "Look, you can either go to the military, get a job, or go to school." And I'm like, "Man, I just don't know what I want to do with my life." So, like I said before, at that time I had lost my virginity when I was 21, and experienced that crazy situation with the girl that I lost my virginity to. But with all that going on, I just kind of went through a little whole phase after that, and I decided that I would take my grandmother's advice, Betty Franklin. Um, she um, she was the one that recommended Job Corps to me, and thought it'd be good for me to go get a trade. And like they would basically pay you to go learn a trade. So I thought, well, what's it got to lose for? Go learn something different, and get paid for it. So that's why I decided to go to Memphis, was just try to get a fresh new start and learn something different. But while I was there, I just met a lot of different people there from different parts of the country and whatnot. But I met three ladies in particular that kind of just caught my attention and kind of talked to them. I can't remember all their names, to be honest, but one was from Columbia, Tennessee, one was from Memphis, Tennessee, and the other one was from Smyrna, Tennessee. Um, so basically, all three of these women practice in witchcraft. Now, I know one for sure said that she was like a white witch, hinting that she was practicing more white magic. The other two, I don't know if they're practicing dark magic or not, but either way, witchcraft is not where it's at in terms of when you're trying to follow God. So, um, the lady that was from Memphis, I remember we were talking one day, and she said that she, went off campus for the weekend to go with a couple of her other friends, and that these ladies basically opened up a portal, and that they basically ended up releasing a demon that they didn't mean to release, but they didn't know how to basically stop it. They didn't know how to even close the portal. So what I remember was when they told me this, that I remember there was like a dark cloud over the Dr. Benjamin L. Hooks Job Corps Center for about a week or something like that. It was just a cloud just hovering over the campus, and it was weird because it didn't rain. It was just hovering, and it was just weird. But that was the same time that she said that they opened up a portal and basically released something that was really bad, that it wasn't supposed to be released, and they couldn't control it or put it back or make it do anything. Um, the other person that was from Smyrna, you know, she actually kept up with me when we left. Dr. Benjamin helped when we left Memphis, and we kind of went our separate ways. But I'm from Laverne, and close to Nashville, and she was from Smyrna, so we kind of kept up with each other. Even though she told me that she was a witch, what I'd done with these women was, you know, when I saw those eyes, and with the girl that lost my virginity to, and you know, heard the dreams that my uncle told me. I didn't really trust the church at the time, but I was determined to try to figure out like what I got myself into. So I talked to these witches, and I was trying to get their perspective on it. So the one from Smyrna, she just kind of shook her head when I told her the story about the girl that took my virginity, and she said that somebody's practicing dark magic on you. and that kind of gave me a little bit of concern. But that's kind of like why I started consulting them, because I was just trying to get to the bottom of what happened to me. Like, I figure if the preachers or the people who followed God weren't really paying attention to my story or saying that it wasn't a big deal, I was like, I'm gonna find out from somebody. So that's why I was talking to them and letting them know about, like what had happened to me and try to get answers from it. Um, I cut off ties with these women, the one in particular from Smyrna, not because I hated them or anything like that. It's just, eventually you got to make a decision on what you surround yourself with. So, some of the stories she told me in terms of, she got married, and I was happy for her, because I told her about some people I wanted to get married to. I think that's the reason why I talked to them, because I was just trying to find my wife or be loved in some way, and I told them about some things, whatever. And so, um, the one from Smyrna basically said that she got married, and I guess she had an extra person within that relationship, that wanted to basically be married with them. And that's where things got a little weird for me. To me, like, I know people do it, but to me, that was never my cup of tea. Like, once I'm married to somebody, like, I always looked at it like it was just me and them. Like, I don't want to share them with anybody else. So I believe the definition is like a polyamorous relationship. And, I've met people like that, and I've done things that I shouldn't have done. But the truth is, with that lifestyle, there's no telling what you're opening yourself up to. And so, since she was a proclaimed witch or practiced witchcraft, people like that, they kind of monitor you in the spirit world behind closed doors. They try to, at least. So I kind of quit talking to her, because there was a time when I was trying to date somebody. Um, and I guess to tell you a little bit about her, like, I remember I was trying to sleep with her, and basically she wouldn't let me. I tried though. I was trying to put myself out there. She just wouldn't let me. Well, the truth is, she was trying to recruit me for her polyamorous group, pretty much, because that's what she practiced too, as well. Between both of these ladies, they expressed the words pineapple, and those two ladies actually knew each other, which was why I think I wanted to cut off the one from Smyrna. Again, not because I hated her, but at the same time, I couldn't. I didn't want to deal with certain things anymore because of what I was dealing with in my personal life. So, again, I'm not trying to bash anybody. It just is what it is. Like, we all got to make decisions on what we practice, and I chose not to practice that stuff anymore. But yeah, definitely. I consulted those women, and I guess the reason why I decided to consult them was, I kept having like a lot of dreams while I was at Job Corps, and again, that's one of the things I was telling these women, the dreams. I'm gonna make another video to, as far as like what those dreams were and about that situation and why I was so intrigued about them. But for now, like, I'm just trying to stick to like what I was doing in Memphis, and why I was doing what I was doing. Um, I was reading First Samuel chapter 28, and it basically talks about how King Saul got cut off for basically consulting with witches. So for the longest time, I kept wondering, there's been so many witches and sorcerers that I've talked to or dealt with that, that they didn't just upright tell me that they were, but they practice those things. So for the longest, I kept wondering if God cut me off or did this or did that. And like I said, I was in Memphis in 2009, and so obviously, if you've been listening to some of my videos, a lot more has happened since 2009. So I don't think he cut me off, but I think he didn't cut me off because of my ignorance to what I was dealing with. some people do things and they willingly know what they're doing, and I think those are the people that he cuts off. But I think when I think about, you know, the when Jesus was hanging on the cross, he basically asked the Father to forgive these people because we don't know what we're doing. And so I try to hold on to that in my journey these days. I know I did a lot of wrong, a lot of things that I'm ashamed of and that I shouldn't have done. Maybe even things that I knew better, but I just didn't care because I was in a sunken place trying to get answers. And I was determined to find out about those answers. But you know, I just been through a lot in terms of like just dealing with that type of stuff. But um, definitely wanted to talk about like that experience in Memphis as far as me consulting with those ladies. Um, for a while I called them friends and thought that they were, had my best interest at heart. But you got to really be careful about who you share information with because not everybody's trying to, you know, lead you in the right way. Some people are trying to capture you, and bring you into their world. And so I guess one of the reasons why I cut off the one from Smyrna is because she was kind of bragging about basically manifesting this woman that was a part of their her husband's relationship. It almost sounded like she had like mind control on her, and that's what made me question, well, do you have mind control on me? Because I've told you a whole lot about me. And so, again, if anybody's reading or looking at these videos that recognizes me, know that if I'm telling you stories about you, like I'm not going to tell your names in public like this. I'm not trying to shame you like that or make it seem like what you did was wrong or anything. I'm just telling you my story and the consequences as far as like what happened to me. If you recognize these stories, know that I don't mean any harm by it, but I would be failing the public if I didn't tell the truth about certain things in terms of like the dangers of what we practice. Because trust me, I practice it too. Like, I got into the crystals and like I said in my other videos, the dream boards, manifestation. Like I was doing a lot of things that I should not have done because I was just trying to be happy. I was trying to find purpose and be happy, but I was looking for all that in the wrong places. So again, just a little background as far as like why I was in Memphis and whatnot, and like who I met and why I was talking to him in that way. Like I said, um, I could probably tell like a couple of dreams that I had. One dream that I had while I was in Memphis, basically I was coming out of a volcano and it seemed like a birthing process, like somebody giving birth. And all I remember was just coming out kind of looking like this, like an Egyptian mummy or something like that. And there was a bunch of white people in front of me going through the same process, but I didn't know them. What I did know is that we were all going down the same path, like in some lava, and it was just. I remember just very vividly. It was really torturous. Like it burned. Like I could feel the lava burning my flesh, and it was like a slow like process. It wasn't like I was sliding down the channel real fast, but I could see the ocean in front of me, and I could see different people, um, getting into the water before me, before my time was ready to meet the ocean. And these people started to change into like, some change into gold and diamonds and, just these beautiful colors I've never even seen before. But they all looked like they were really happy. And, that gave me enough courage to just endure to kind of finish the race, if you want to call it that. But I, I got into the ocean. When it was my turn to get into the ocean, I changed into a crescent moon. And when I got into the water, it was like, even though all these people were strangers around me, we were all just crying and laughing because we all just experienced a very painful process that I guess none of us thought we were going to make it. So when we finally got into the water and changed into what we were supposed to be, I don't know, like I just, I was just like, wow, like what am I supposed to be? Pretty much, I turned into a crescent moon. Um, I have my thoughts on what those dreams mean. I'm gonna try to make another video as far as like what I think that they mean. But the next night, I had a second dream where I'm standing in front of this woman. I'm wearing a white robe, and she's wearing a white kind of a wedding dress, and she's wearing like a crystal or like diamond crown on her head that was really bright. And she's crying. We're both kind of standing in front of each other, just holding hands in front of each other. And she's crying as if she had found something precious. So, what I remember in the dream is we were hovering over the ocean, and there were like iceberg tips sticking out of the ocean. On each iceberg, there were like two pairs of animals, two pairs of penguins, two wolves, two polar bears, and like two whales jumping out of the water. Everything was like pairs. And so I didn't recognize this woman, but in my mind, I was like, who is this? Like, I didn't know who she was, but it just seemed like it was somebody important. So I kind of put that dream in the back burner. I never forgot it, but it just, I just kind of never forgot it pretty much. Um, so again, I guess for the sake of this video, I want to put emphasis on, keeping in mind like who you're learning from and who you're telling your information to. Me personally, I'm not afraid of witches anymore because I've dealt with so many of them. And I'm not saying that to challenge anybody, but I mean, I've dealt with them for so long from, my family and just different people who were my friends who I thought I've just dealt with it for so long. Like I'm battle tested in it. And I know as of right now in my life that God has his hands on me. Um, yeah, I'm definitely going to be making a part two to like those dreams and why I hesitated for so long to take them seriously. Because to be honest, you know, I feel like God's been talking to me a lot all my life in terms of like dreams. I can still remember as a child just seeing the crucifixion, like just for, I mean, as a child, I probably dreamed probably like 3 or 4 times a week, just random dreams. And I would say about 70% of those dreams were like vivid, just scenes of the crucifixion as if I was there myself. Like I remember one dream as a kid. I remember just helping Jesus carry his cross, and I just remember like Jesus' face like right there next to me as I was like kind of helping him carry it. And to me, it terrified me because I just remember it was just a really not great scene. It was terrifying for me as a kid. I guess why I'm talking about that is, you know, one of the things that I had to learn just, growing up was to get over my fear of the crucifixion. Satan did a very good job on trying to trick my mind to basically be afraid of the crucifixion because of all the dreams that I was having as a kid. They were like nightmares to me. And every time I saw like a visual of Christ or like in a movie or something like that, I would just be terrified of it. I remember when the Passion of Christ came out, and my parents were trying to get me to go see it, and I'm like older now, and I was like, I just don't want to see that movie in the movie theaters. Like I'll wait for it to come out to where I feel like I'm in a safer place or whatever, but I can't watch that in the movie theaters. So anybody that like like my parents or anybody that really know, they'll tell you that I used to be really afraid of that scene. But as I got older, I realized that um, that's like the one thing that you need to get saved is to recognize his death. So Satan was trying to get me to be afraid of the one thing that I needed to recognize. I mean, that's how shrewd he is. So just some things to think about, guys. Like I said, I got stories for days. But um, like I said, I have an Instagram, Uncle_Barrett on Instagram. Um, that's where I go promote. future books or future videos that are coming out. So if you want to follow me there, you can. But I can't stress enough to where I really do feel like we're just living in the last days. I know I've heard that statement all my life, just growing up, and it got to the point where I was like, I don't know what we're doing like as a society, but I do feel like with everything that I've been seeing, just just us as a nation, just glorifying certain things that I know God doesn't care for. I understand that we value sex and the sex culture, and we value money, and it seems like those two things kind of go hand in hand in terms of the American spirit. But like I said earlier in one of my other videos, you know, um, God has destroyed nations in the past for crossing a line, and so I would. I feel like as a nation, we need to do like a really heavy evaluation on what our values are and why we believe in what we believe in. Um, and that starts at home. It starts with just doing a self evaluation of you first. And if you have a family, like what are y'all doing as a family? And if you're a leader in your community, what are you doing in your community as a whole? I'm from Tennessee, and there's certain things that I've noticed about um, just Nashville. Like as I was learning more about the witchcraft world, or not just Nashville, but just Tennessee in general. Um, again, shout out to John Ramirez for basically explaining how a lot of sorcerers go to the highest places to do some of their sorcery. So, like I'm like a big Tennessee Vols fan. So when it comes to Tennessee, Knoxville or like East Tennessee is more of the higher land. Um, I think that's also why they placed uh, the Tennessee Vols like in that area, because they're doing some things, harnessing all that energy from the Vols fans to get some things done. But when I think about Nashville, which is closer more to my hometown, or just the area that I'm more familiar with, Nashville's definitely got a huge like kind of Greek philosophy going on. There's the Parthenon with a big old deity in it. Um, I mean, even our football team, the Tennessee Titans. I mean, it's all about Greek mythology here. And then just in my time in Memphis, I noticed that Memphis has a more Egypt philosophy thing going on with their pyramids and just how they get down over there, I guess. Again, I'm not bashing anything. I'm just calling stuff what I see, you know? So overall, like, I do know that just based off of my studies that demons are very territorial. And I do feel like, I don't know anything about California. I'm not from there. I don't know anything about Florida because I'm not from there. And I don't know anything about New York because I'm not from there either. But I have been around this state, and I feel like, just me loving history and, just reading into those things, like this state has a rich, crazy history in terms of it literally being like the buckle of the Bible Belt. And now I can see Satan trying to turn it into something else. Again, just things to think about, things to study on, things to ponder on. Again, I hope some of this information helps you out. If it does, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, I got a lot more content coming out. Just trying to get it out whenever I feel led to. And if you know people that might like this information, let them know. Like I said, I've already had dreams of you know sorcerers and witches trying to attack me, and so um, I'll say this: I never liked the title prophet, but I have been prophesied over, and I'm gonna get into that in my next video that I put out. But the thing is, if that's true, if it is true that God has placed prophecy over my life, Scripture is clear to do no harm to His prophets or to His anointed ones. So that's just a simple warning to anybody who may be thinking about putting spells on me behind closed doors, your little altars, whatever. If you're thinking about that, I highly recommend that you just don't, because it's y'all that's going to battle for me in this day. I didn't have enough confidence to believe in that years ago, but today I can, I know with all my heart that I know who my daddy is, and I know that he's going to do battle for me when it comes to that. So just a simple warning to all the people who want to mess with that stuff and try to attack me or whoever. Y'all's got me and my family and my loved ones covered. So, I mean, for your sake, I would not try it. But that's all for now. I hope that this helps you all. Any feedback or encouragement, helps. And like I said, just stay prayed up, y'all. We're living in those times for real, for real. God bless you all, and y'all have a good night.